question up here, Mike, in this first row.
Mike Singer, Denver Post. Michael, I'm sure you watched the game film from last night in accordance of preparing for tomorrow night in Game 4. During that process, do you find yourself kind of being able to remove yourself and say, wow, I just saw history in the making in Joker and Jamal, or is it just totally focused, locked in, and it's just like adjustments for tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, as I watched the film, as we watched it as a staff and then with the team, it was nothing about, the historical night that it was. We're addressing all the areas where we have to be better. Too many turnovers, too many offensive rebounds. And so, yeah, it was nothing celebrating the great nights that Nikola and Jamal had. More importantly, it's about how can we find a way to come out tomorrow night and get another one here in Miami, heading home to Denver for Game 5.
Third row on the left.
Hey, Michael. Paul Clay, Denver Gazette. Joker seems to figure things out really quickly, almost like a problem solver. He puts the puzzle together. When you're watching film with him, how would you describe that? Is it what we see that he is that problem solver in the film room as well?
Well, I think it's was evident from early on in his career in Denver is that really high IQ, sees things before they happen, a step ahead of most people. And what you love about him is, offensively, no matter what is thrown at him, he has an answer. And he's seen everything in his 8 years that you could conceivably come up with as a defensive game plan. And he doesn't fight it. That's one thing I love about Nikola. He takes what the game brings. And that's what makes him special. He's able to make everyone around him better. He's able to read the game plan, read the floor, read the defense, and make the right play seemingly every time. And there's not many players that are that heady, especially doing it at the stage that he's doing it on right now, Paul. So it's really a luxury to have a player that is not only as talented as he is, but unselfish and with the IQ that he has.
Tony, back right.
Coach Tony Jones from The Athletic. After Game 2, Miami, you weren't happy with Miami's efficiency from the three-point line. Obviously, going back to Game 1 as well, you talked about the open shots that you guys yielded. They were a lot less efficient from the three-point line in Game 3. Also, simultaneously, you took away some of their efficiency inside the arc. What are some of the defensive adjustments that you made in the macro sense? Were you happy with the effort defensively last night?
Very happy with the defensive effort. You look at the numbers across the board, Tony, and our guys were so much more locked in, so much more urgent and aggressive in Game 3 than we were in Game 2. And for me, I can't speak for any other coach. Like, when you lose a game, the first reaction isn't we have to change the game plan. For me, the first reaction is are we executing the game plan correctly? And in Game 2, we didn't. That led to countless mistakes, and which led to a lot of points for Miami where we could have been a lot better. So last night, only 11 made threes. The defense was much better. The communication and discipline was much better. And that is what I'm most proud about is the buy-in, commitment, urgency that we had. And it'll have to be even better tomorrow night. If you go back to Game 1, they made 13 threes in that game. I think 6 were in the fourth quarter. So for 3 quarters, we did a great job of guarding the 3, and then that 21-point lead got knocked down to 9 because we opened up the 3-point line. Game 2 is 17, way too many. So I think a big message for our guys is we want them to try and beat us with tough twos and eliminate the threes as much as possible.
Joe, front left.
Joe Varden, also from The Athletic. Last night after the game, it seemed like Jamal was attending to a cut on his left hand. Is he okay?
Oh, he's fine. Yeah, just a floor burn.
Ohm right here.
Michael Omi, almost like ESPN. You had spoken about this earlier in the series about Nikola's defense. Last night, Miami shot 3 for 19 when he was contested by him as a primary help defender, and Bam was 1 for 10. Was that his best? And he had 2 blocks. Was that his best defensive game? What are you seeing from him on this stage of how he's doing defensively?
Well, I think it's often, when you look at Nikola, so many people just use an eye test to debate whether he's a good defender or not. And that is just almost unjust, if you will, because you have to get past the eye test. You have to look at all the things that he does. He has great awareness, great IQ, great anticipation, tremendous hands to break things up. They shot 34% in the restricted area last night. Nikola was a big part of that. Nikola contested 21 shots last night. He had 2 blocks. So he's doing a lot for us to get to this stage in the finals, and then for us to have a great defensive performance last night. His fingerprints were all over that game. So is he going to go above the rim and block a shot or pin something to the backboard? He's not going to do that, and stop expecting to do that. But if you really know what you're looking at, which a lot of people don't, you take a real sense of, okay, this guy is a good defensive player, and he's doing it with an IQ and an awareness that a lot of people just don't have. So I thought Nikola was tremendous last night, as was the rest of our group.
Mike?
Michael, when you were assessing Jamal's night and talking about him last night post-game, you said that he had a presence about him that you were able to sense or glean or something to that effect. What did you mean by that? When he has a presence about him, how does that impact it, and what does that tangibly look like?
Well, for me, in my conversations with Jamal coming out of Game 2, going into Game 3, just reiterating to him how important he is to this group. And not just a 30-10-10 night, but more than that. Like, he's a leader of this team, and not just vocally, but emotionally. And I felt in Game 2 he was there, but I just didn't feel him. Like I know I have felt him throughout these playoffs. And being in the moment and feeling his energy, like I think that's a big thing for me. Reading somebody, seeing where are they at mentally, where are they at physically. Forget making and missing shots, but I could tell from early on in Game 3 last night that Jamal was fully present in the moment and was ready and willing and able to do whatever it took to lead this team to a big win. And from the opening tip to the final buzzer, I felt Jamal was just that.
Steve, right here, second row.
Steve Ashburn at NBA.com. Michael Porter's minutes were down last night. His shooting has been off. How challenging is it to keep someone like him locked in and feeling that he's contributing, even when he might sense the meat and potatoes of his game he's not helping you with?
Well, I mean, I think so many people are quick to dismiss people. And so Michael Porter is not making shots right now. And we know he's a great shooter. We know what he's capable of. But he had 7 rebounds last night, and he had some really good defensive possessions and possessions in which he contested shots and was working on that end. And in this business, if you are just a specialist, we're not for you. We don't like specialists. We like basketball players. So if Michael Porter is not making shots, he has to find a way to help impact winning through being an unselfish player on offense, being a defensive-minded player, being somebody that rebounds the basketball. And his shot is going to fall. If he's taking the right shots and we're generating the right shots for him, I want KCP, 2 guys that we know are better than they showed in 3 games. They got to keep shooting the ball because that's the only way they're going to get out of that slump. But we believe in Michael. He's our starting small forward, and I have zero doubt that he's going to have a very big game coming up here that's going to help us win this championship.
Dan, back left.
Coach Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. Sticking with shooting, Nikola, I think 47% from 3 in this postseason. Hasn't had a high volume of attempts in this series, but what does the threat of his shooting, knowing that he has that ability to shoot, what does that open up for your offense?
Yeah, I think it's critical. We have a great offense, period. But when Nikola is making threes, that puts so much more pressure on the opposing defense. And I think he has one of the best shot fakes in the NBA. And he is, for a big guy, he is great at attacking closeouts. So if you're shooting 40-plus from 3, and now teams are really worried about that, and they're running you off the line or closing to touch, he's shot faking or driving that closeout, and now you have a 6'10", 6'11", great passer getting downhill that's going to score. He's an uncanny finisher. He's going to find somebody working behind the defense for a lob, or he's going to kick it out and spray for a wide-open 3. So it's not just the 3 points that he's making, but the pressure and the added layer is putting it against that defense. And it's really fun to watch him pick, pop, shoot. Oh, we got to run them off the line. Pick, pop, drive to close out, layup, or spray, or make a play for somebody else. And that is what defines him for me as a truly great player, is because every night his ability to make every one of his teammates better players.
Coach, thank you very much. Jamal will be next.
Thank you, guys.
Affiliation. Do we have a first question? We'll go to on our right, third row, Matt Moore.
Bruce, how much of the better job you guys did against their three-point attempts was staying home versus being early on those closeouts? Was it more about like recognizing how to get there, or was it more about staying glued to those shooters to make sure that they don't get those opportunities?
I just think recognizing the attack angle, their drivers were going in. Sometimes they're attacking to pass, and sometimes they're attacking to score. And then Jimmy was killing us in head situations, game two, finding the shooter, so we try to stay home.
Left side, second row.
Bruce, Mark Kisla, Denver Post. I was talking to Jeff Green a couple of days ago, and he was talking about the grind of a long NBA career. And his message was sort of, don't let the business get you down. Now, you've talked about coming to Denver, but what kept you from being disappointed in the situation, not coming to Denver, but not having the offers you wanted and making the most of it?
Definitely was disappointed. But, I mean, that just added a chip on my shoulder to come out and prove what I know I can do in this league. And Denver was just a perfect fit. Everything obviously fell right in place how we thought it would. So I'm happy to be here.
We're going to go right side, third row.
Ryan Blackburn, Mile High Sports. Bruce, there's been a lot of conversation over the past couple of days about the Jeff Green dinner that he hosted at his house. I just wondered, like, how important are those, even if they're small, like just moments of camaraderie with the team where you get to refocus, whether it's after a win or a loss?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, not a lot of people like to have people at their crib, especially how nice Jeff's house is. But it was great. The whole team was there. Everyone, all the coaches were there. And it wasn't even talking about basketball. We were just having a great time being around each other and seeing how nice Jeff's house is.
Do we have another? We'll go to Gary here in third row.
Yeah, Bruce, Gary Watson, Boston Globe. The pride that you have from being from Boston, where does that come from being Dorchester, as you pointed out?
I think just being a Bostonian. I mean, everybody from Boston loves Boston. And me growing up there, that's all I knew. So I think just the grind of being there, growing up, loving where I'm from, loving the sports, loving everybody that I've met, being from there, it just speaks for me being from Boston.
And the city obviously has the Celtics, but not a lot of great NBA players from there, good ones. I mean, what it brings along that pride in terms of just like, who did you follow? Who did you look up to growing up?
Definitely a lot of hoopers from Boston I looked up to, like Shabazz, Napier, Wayne Selden, those guys who I've actually watched play. I watched Shabazz play in the BNBL when I was there when I was younger. So, I mean, without those guys, I don't think I would be here. I didn't think a kid from where I'm from can make it out. So those guys played a huge role in my success.
Any more questions for Bruce? We'll go here on the right, third row.
Yeah, Bruce, Ryan Blackburn, Mile High Sports. So much of the conversation surrounding Jokic and Murray over the course of these past couple of days, too, has just been how finally back healthy with regard to Murray, finally has his running mate, Nikola, for Jamal. What have you seen over the course of this season, just those guys developing that chemistry again, and you guys maybe developing even more confidence in that duo over the course of the season? Just what have they proven to you over the course of this time?
Yeah, that duo is just almost impossible to stop. They can score whenever they want, when they're aggressive. They know each other's tendencies, where they like to get the ball, where they like to shoot. So, I mean, it's for any team, it's tough for them to stop them too. So the rest of the team, we just got to play off them.
We'll take one more question on the left.
Mark Hislow with the Post again. You've also talked about Denver seeing you as a guard or a point guard. So I asked Cal about that, and he said, man, he's always been a point guard to me because I scouted him at the U when he played Minnesota, I think. has he ever told you that, or
No.
yeah?
No, he never told me that. But yeah, at Miami, our offense is like anybody can be the one. Everybody has to hand the ball in their hands to make plays. So I mean, yeah, I came into the league as a guard, and I started point guard my second year in Detroit. It's just the role in Brooklyn was the only way for me to get on the floor. So I had to do that. I did really well at it, but now I like being back in my normal position.
Thanks, Lepers.
You're welcome.
We'll go on the right side to the third row.
Ryan Blackburn, Mile High Sports. Obviously, massive win for the team last night. You guys have a really strong defensive performance. What do you think was the catalyst for that? Was it there was talk about film? There were we talked about the team dinner a little bit at Jeff's house. What do you think was the catalyst for bouncing back defensively?
Yeah, I think we spent a lot of time going through what they're really good at and what they got us on in game two, with their slipping to the 3-point line. You know what I mean? And really just try to take away the 3-point line. I think they're the number one team in the playoffs, 3-point percentage. So that's a big way that they score their points. So that was just an emphasis, and I think we did a much better job of that.
We're going to go to left side, fourth row.
Hey, Mike. Jake Shapiro, Denver Sports. What did you take away from that team dinner? It seemed like that really had an impact on a lot of your teammates.
Yeah, I think it was great for the team as a whole to kind of disconnect and just enjoy each other's company, make it not about basketball, you know. So I think it was good for us for sure. And then we just got to talk a little bit about the game and things like that. But we all really appreciate Jeff doing it for sure.
We're going to go to right side, third row.
Matt Moore, Action Network. Mike, the other day you kind of commented on how they knew how to anticipate your defensive coverages. Did you guys change those calls last night to cut down on those some? What did you do to mitigate that?
Yeah, they do a good job of hearing what we're doing and then reacting out of that. But I think just the early communication, the loud communication, and just sticking with our calls, and just being more aware of the actions that they're trying to get into. So it just took a lot more preparation, but we did a much better job. I think we still had a few slip-ups, but much better job than game two.
We'll stay on the right side, second row.
Vinny Benedetto with the Denver Gazette. You kind of, I assume, touched on it a bit there, but even though shots weren't falling for you again in game three, do you feel better about your complete performance than you did in game two?
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. It's been a couple of rough games for me. I think, I played hard. Defensively pretty good. Still tried to rebound the ball while I was out there. For me, shooting and offense is natural, so I can't put too much stock into a couple of rough games shooting wise. Even though I wish shots were falling, obviously. But really, I'm just glad the team won. But I know there's going to be a couple games this series where the team is going to need me on the offensive end, so I'm looking forward to trying to bounce back in that area as well.
We're going to come to left side, third row.
Steve Ashburner, NBA.com. Michael just reminded us that you're the starting small forward, and he said that before the series ends, you and KCP are going to have shooting nights that help them win. Does that confidence help you, when you are struggling with your shot?
I mean, I wouldn't even say like I'm not feeling confident in my shot or I'm feeling pressure or anything like that. I'm just missing, you know what I mean? And sometimes the ball just doesn't go in. I think there's been a lot of shots that have been right there, I've just missed. So, yeah, I know my teammates have confidence in my shot. I know my coaches do. So, yeah, I'll get it going. Hopefully tomorrow's a better game on that side of the floor for me. But I definitely, we all have belief in each other. So that's one thing about this team.
How satisfying is it for you when you have a game like last night, in spite of the shooting, you get 7 rebounds, you contest some things, to contribute in ways, but it's not necessarily the meat and potatoes of your game?
Yeah, I mean, the playoffs is so much different than the regular season. I'm getting a lot different looks than in the regular season. I think they're paying a lot of attention to me, and they're a really good defensive team. You know what I mean? So Jamal and Nikola have the ball in their hands a lot of the time. I gotta be ready to knock down shots, but they're paying attention to me. I'm missing some shots, but like you said, that can't affect the rest of your game. I thought I did a much better job of that yesterday than in game two. Just we're going to win a championship playing defense. It's not going to be about our offense. We could have 2 or 3 guys have bad shooting nights and still win a game just off our defense. So that's got to be the main focus.
2 more questions, right side, third row.
Matt Moore, Action Network. Mike, have you guys had film this morning?
Yeah, we did.
What was the message from the coaching staff in that session specifically?
Yeah, there was some things we could clean up defensively, but it was a lot of positives on both sides of the floor. Even though we didn't make some of our threes, we still had a lot of positives attacking the zone. So I think we did a much better job on that end of the floor than we did in game 2 or 1. You know, we got some good looks, and we're due to have an explosive offensive night. I feel like where guys are just clicking like we have all year, but like the defense was pretty good last night, I thought.
Last question, left side, fourth row.
Mike, you're primarily a perimeter player. You had 7 boards, as you pointed out last night. Jamal had 10. Christian had a couple big ones, especially on offense. What goes into offensive rebounding as a perimeter player?
Yeah, it's really just energy and effort. Because if you crash the offensive glass, you know you still got to get back on defense because they're pushing with pace. So if you're gonna crash, you got to know if you don't get the ball, you got to get back. But I just think, it's a timing thing, and then really we're just scrapping and clawing. Like, this is a gritty team we're playing against. It's not always gonna look pretty. So we're just trying to go out there and focus on effort rather than all the uncontrollables, and that's how we'll get this series.
Thank you, Michael.
All right.
We'll take first question over here, right side, 4th row.
Jamal, Paulo Antunes, ESPN. I wanted to ask you about your relationship with Coach Mike Malone, what he meant to you during your recovery. He spoke about during a time you're maybe even apprehensive about your future in Denver and how he reassured you. So what's your relationship like with him? What did he mean for your recovery? And how has he helped you become the player that you are today?
Yeah, I think it goes both ways. I think we just developed a relationship of trust, on the court. He understands what I'm trying to get to. And during rehab, just always reassuring me. Not just rehab, but even during games when I'm not shooting well, just always reassuring me and keeping me positive, looking the bright side, and not letting me get into my own head sometimes about what's going on in the midst of the games or midst of rehab. So I think he's always been like that. He's always helped me out and, like I said, kept me in a positive mood or done enough to reassure me. So I appreciate that a lot.
Arash, front left.
Hey, Jamal. Arash Madeni, Sportsnet Canada. You spoke last night about the chemistry that you and Jokic have together. Just how much of that are you guys almost with your eyes closed, you can kind of read off one another and just really have developed something on the floor that really clicks?
Yeah, the best word is free flowing. If something's not there, we don't go to it. If it's there, we go to it. If we plan on doing something and they do something different, we adjust on the fly. It's just we call a lot of audibles. Each possession, we're talking about what they just did, how we can counter it, and there's so many different counters that we can do, so we don't fight it. I think that's the biggest thing. Whatever we're doing, whatever the defense is doing, we're not fighting it. We're just reacting and playing and flowing right into our offense and not being stagnant. So it's a lot of fun to play like that, being unselfish and just make reads.
Mike up front.
Mike Singer, Denver Post. Jamal, earlier this year, you said you were appreciative you believed that Joker was stealing all your triple doubles, and you finally got one in January, I think, against the Pacers. What did it mean to get a triple double last night? Did that mean anything to you, and how appreciative of you were that Malone left you in the game to ultimately get that rebound with 3 seconds left?
He was trying to make subs, but it was out the free throw line, so I kind of had to stay in, but. Yeah, it's like I say, it's a cool stat. Just want to win a championship, just trying to win a game. It's not really we're something to look into or playing for. It's just trying to win a game, doing everything I can to impact it.
Standing on the left side.
Jamal, is it possible to say, is it going to be 2 more games or 4 more games for Denver to win? And can you guys mentally kind of be focused only on one game, or do you always think of there may be 4 more games, and you think of the whole thing, you're in the finals, and how do you psychologically eliminate that and just focus on playing? Is it a hard thing to do right now?
No, we go into every game trying to win. We try to win every game, home or away. Try to win every game. We don't plan on losing the game. So whether we're home or away, we're trying to win, and just kind of react off that.
Dan, over here.
Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. Jokic is shooting something like 47% from 3 in the postseason. Hasn't gotten a high volume of attempts from 3 in this series. What does the threat of his shooting, even if he's not getting them off, what does that open up for your offense?
Takes the biggest guy takes the biggest guy out of the paint. You have to guard him. You know, he can obviously shoot it. So I think he just does a good job of just picking the spots, pump faking, getting into the lane, or shooting the open 3, even shooting the contested ones just to keep him honest. And you know that opens things up not just for us but for him as well. You know, that opens up his moves and his drives and his passing and all that. So he's going to continue to play the game and do a good job at picking the spots.
Next row back this side.
Katie Wingy, Altitude TV. Jamal, how much of your chemistry with Nikola Jokic do you think has to do with your personalities working well together, not just your basketball styles, but who you are as people?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a love for the game and trying to accomplish something. You know, we both got our mind on winning, and however it takes. Like we always say, it might not be your night, but if you can set a good screen, if you can play good defense, get a rebound, if you can hustle. If you can make a timely pass or shot or whatever it is, that's what we're trying to accomplish. So sometimes it may not be one of our nights, but we can both impact the game and winning, and I think that's where the root of it stems from, is just having a common goal.
Left side.
Hey,
third
Jamal,
row.
Paul Klee, the Denver Gazette. Joker's seen like a million different types of matchups and coverages the last 2 months. How would you describe how he kind of puts the puzzle together? He solves these problems. It seems like it takes like a half for him to figure out what they're doing and to fix it.
Like I said, just making it look easy, slowing the game down, whether the double team is coming from the bottom or the middle. It's single coverage to the sign. It doesn't really matter. He'll figure it out. We'll all adjust and give him the right spacing. So. Like he's been doing it, like he's a 2-time MVP. He's been doing it for a while, where they're not just having one guy on him. So to be able to pick teams apart with his passing and scoring and timely passing is really tough to stop.
Right here.
Young Musik, ESPN. Jamal, we always talk about Nikola's greatness, deservedly so. But last night, Miami shot 3 for 19 when Jokic defended them as a primary help defender, and Bam shot 1 for 10. If Joker starts defending like this, what else can you say about him? Like, what does that do for you guys?
We know, as a group, we know what he can do on defense. We're just trying to change the narrative and that he doesn't play defense. He's got amazing hands, timing, IQ, rebounding ability, body position, rule of vert. He's got all that. So sometimes it's not about how high you can jump and what kind of shots you can block. You know, it's about body position and where you are on the court, and that's half the job right there. So he's an elite defender in the pick and roll, and for what he lacks, he makes up for it.
Rob, back left.
Jamal, Rob Mahoney with The Ringer. Obviously, Nikola had a ton of rebounds in this game, but you had 10, Aaron had 10, Michael Porter had 7. How does it change the dynamic of the game when one team like yours is gang rebounding like that, when you really don't know who's crashing, who's going to come up with it? How does that change kind of the dynamic of the game?
I think the biggest thing about that is just giving them one shot. You know, they got a lot of scorers and shooters over there, so we can't keep giving them multiple looks, multiple chances, even when we do play good defense. It's very deflating to watch them get a rebound and get another chance at it. So it's a collective effort on the board. You know, like I said, I'll come in from the elbows and chip in. Yoka's battling down there every night, and then you got Mike and AG, who are normally the second, third biggest guys out there, cleaning stuff up. So sometimes it may not be your rebound, but as long as one of us gets it, the job is done.
Standing in the back left.
Jamal, over here. Tomer Zarli from Clutch Wins. I think when we talk about the big man position and dominance, you think about speed, strength, stuff like that. Do you think Nikola's kind of redefined what dominance looks like at that big man position, where he's not maybe not the strongest, maybe not the fastest, but he's getting it done at a dominant way?
He's strong. He's strong. He's 7 foot. He's got amazing touch, IQ, passing. You know, he does a great job of just picking the spots when to go right away, when to wait for the double, when to put the ball on the floor, when to spin. So yeah, he's a tough cover down there. He's up there with the greats.
Last two quick ones, Mike, and then over here.
Denver Post. Jamal, you've talked about your meditations. You've talked about all the mental work that you've done. How much are you able to envision a game like you had last night versus how much is it organic and you're just in a good mental space and can play like that?
I think it's both. Sometimes I'll ask Gino what color jerseys we're wearing, so it helps me envision what I'm trying to portray in my head. Just a little trick where it's a little easier for me to kind of imagine the energy I want to bring in the uniform I'm in. I also envision like reactions. Like if I miss a shot, what is the first thing I'm thinking about? I'm like, damn, that was a good shot. Or was that a just next shot? Or just get back? Or don't worry about it? Or was what am I honing in on it too long? So little stuff like that, just kind of redefining my mentality within the game so that when it happens, I'm almost prepared for it and able to adjust that way.
Last question on the left, second row.
We saw you really impressing in this game, and yesterday you were part of the history in the NBA final. Has been you expected, and how do you describe this?
It's a lot of fun. We're all having fun, trying to solve this puzzle together. And yeah, like I said, we've all been dreaming about getting to this stage, and we have vets in the league that haven't made it this far in their 15, 16 years of playing. So we don't want to take this opportunity for granted, knowing that this is not an everyday thing. So it takes a lot of work to be here, a lot of years of dedication, and yeah, we just want to make the most of it for everybody.
Thank you, Jamal.
Appreciate it.
Nikola will be next.
Hi,
Long
Nikola.
time no see, huh?
Christian Palotier, Sanoma Media, Finland. Obviously, your on-ball skills get discussed a lot, but maybe your screening doesn't get a lot of attention. You're especially good at making the decision when to hit the screen, hold the screen, and when to kind of slip it and not screen, maybe more importantly. What goes into your decision-making process? What's your read about when to hold the screen or when to kind of slip away?
I mean, a bunch of things, to be honest, but good question. Mike, take notes. Depends, you know. If I feel my defender is down the floor, I can set screen and hold it. So if I see that they're gonna blitz or show, I can slip out. Or if I see the defender is kind of late, I'm gonna slip out. It's just in moment decision. I think sometimes you make a good decision, sometimes you mistake, but just probably to change, have a more variable. I don't know the word. I forgot the word, but doesn't matter. Just to have a different variation. Random. Just to don't give the same look every time.
Standing on the left side.
Aleksandar Žigić, RTS TV. Nikola, šta očekuješ naredne utakmice? Može jedan tim da iznenadi drugi sad? Da li će Miami da iznenadi vas ili vi Miami? I kako se uopšte spremate sada i kako se osjećaš na finalu sada što ste opet ovde?
Pa sjajno osjećaj, eto prvi put u istoriji da Denver kao franšiza u finalu. Što se tiče same utakmice, pa mislim da ni mi ne možemo njih da iznenadimo, ni oni nas u nekom, možda eto, ne znam da li će da se vrati povređen igrač, da li mi možda možemo da stavimo nekog novog igrača sa klupe, da neku novu energiju. Tako da, ali mislim da generalno da sada je već četvrta utakmica da tu više nema iznenađenja. Moje mišljenje.
Next question, back right.
Hey, Nikola, Harrison Wynn, DNVR. How valuable is Christian's off-ball movement and how it seems like he's always in motion, and how big was that to kind of disrupt their zone defense last night?
Yes, it's just aggressive movement. You know, when he cut, he's aggressive. He's gonna take one defender is gonna take him. That's gonna open a lot of space. And he was attacking downhill, which helps a lot. Just to go by the guy or just go aggressive. You know, he was yesterday. He was amazing. But usually he do the same things. You know, so sometimes he make, sometimes he miss, but. Generally, he's playing really aggressive, and that's really helping us.
Left side, second row.
With the great performance you have had, do you consider this final, this playoff, are being the most important moments in your career, and how meaningful that is for you?
I mean, definitely it is because you know, we have Jeff, we have Ish, we have DJ who've been in the league as a long time, and okay, Jeff one time was in a playoff in the finals, and DJ played with a good team. Ish played with a lot of good players, good teams, and they never made the finals. So it's maybe now or never. So I think it's really important to be focused, to give us opportunity or chance to win. You know.
Right here.
Young, Mr. ESPN. Nikola, last night you blocked 2 shots, and Miami shot, I think, 3 for 19 when you contested as either primary help defender. Bam's 1 for 10. Malone said, look, you're never going to block and pin a ball to the glass, but those who watch basketball know you're a very good defender, and Jamal called you elite defender. You've even joked about maybe your lack of athleticism. How do you make up for that? What is your process of defending and becoming an elite defender?
I mean, I think I didn't affect them at all, to be honest. I mean, they're really good players, but maybe just try to make him uncomfortable or take him the shot he doesn't want, or take it over contested hand, or just to move his hand or move his shot a little bit. Just I think don't give him the easy one. I think that's my main focus. You know.
Second row on the left.
Nikola Ronendov in Israel today. Sharonas Marshalinis in his Hall of Fame speech said how difficult it was for him coming to America today, discussing stats all the time, and everything is stats. Do you feel the same way? Because in our culture, it's a little bit different over in Europe.
No, I don't feel the same because I only talk about people telling me my stats, and I'm trying to say it's a team basketball. So, I mean, yes, I feel the same way, my friend. I mean, I think it's how everything works. You know, in Europe is a little bit maybe the team, the winning. Maybe here here is this winning too, but maybe more stats. I don't know. I really don't know. Good question, Mike.
Mike Singer, Denver Post. Nikola, there was a story that you spoke up after the Game 2 loss. Why did you do that? Why did you feel the need?
I really didn't. I don't know.
You didn't say? You didn't speak up?
I don't think so. I did.
You
Maybe I
blacked
did.
out?
I don't remember, to be honest. Maybe I said a little bit something, but I don't remember what, to be honest.
Okay.
Last question, left
Yes.
side.
Nikola over here, the Denver Gazette. Jamal was talking about how you guys are really enjoying kind of putting the puzzle together. Can you describe what it is that he means by that? And how much do you enjoy that kind of intellectual side of studying what might be happening next?
It's like I think it's cool because just to see different solutions, different how players thinking different, and how some players react in a certain way. Somehow players don't react. You know, I think it's especially now. Like you remember, so they blitz us a couple times. They steal the ball, then we reacted good. It's just a kind of brain game, like a chess game. You know, when they win one move, we have another move. So it's I think that this is the time where the players show what they got. You know.
Thank you.
No, pleasure like always, guys.
On the right side, third row.
Ryan Blackburn, Mile High Sports. Aaron, you guys have had a couple days now in Miami. Just do you think you could expand upon us, expand for us on that Jeff Green dinner at his house, and just maybe how that impacted you guys after what was a tough Game 2 loss?
Oh man, I was a little under the weather, so I had to skip that. But just the fact that JG opens his doors to the rest of his brothers and the rest of the organization is just a testament to what we've been doing all year long, and looking out for the camaraderie, not only on the court but off the court as well. So to come together and break bread with the team, understanding win, lose or draw, you got family is a very important, fundamental piece of being a good team.
We're going to go left side, second row.
Right here, and Michael Peen in the Ringer. How would you assess Nikola's defense throughout this postseason and run, and just what does he do on that end that might be overlooked by people who aren't on the court with you guys?
Really good. His defense has been really sound all playoffs long. Really all year, his defense has been really sound. He's great with his hands, has great feet, great footwork. Like he led the league in kickballs, so he does have great feet, great hands, is in the right spot, does a good job communicating, and is just smart. He's cerebral about his defensive approach. He gives the right space that he needs, plays with the arms distance, and then kind of plays the game within the game. You know what I mean? Just makes the defense think about what they have to do, and that's all you really want to do as a defender, is just make the opposition think about what they want to do, and it kind of takes them out of rhythm.
Right side, third row.
Matt Moore, Action Network. Aaron, you guys were running off of all those rebounds last night. You dominated on the glass and you're running, and they know you want to do that, so they're trying to get in there and dig as you're in transition on the handle. What can you kind of describe that battle as far as like what makes it tough, and why is it so important to push off of those rebounds the way that you guys are, both you and Nikola?
Well, we want to score in transition. In the playoffs, you want to get easy buckets, as many as you can, because the game gets stymied towards the end of it. So throughout the entirety of the game, you want to get out and push, and then also it creates cross matches. So if I get out and push and a point guard takes me, then maybe I can post up and then draw a double team and kick it. Same thing for Joker. It creates cross matches.
Third row on the end.
Steve Ashburner, NBA.com. What kind of a guy is Michael when it comes to working through a shooting slump? Is he someone that, he knows what he needs to do and he deals with it internally, mentally? Does he benefit if you guys, give him a bunch of attaboys and encouragement? And how do you keep him from drifting or if he's not contributing in the way he does best, to still keep him engaged?
I don't think Mike has a bigger critic than himself, so I think he's hard on himself. We tell him just to keep shooting. That's the one thing that this team has encouraged since I've been here, is when you get an open shot, shoot it, and that doesn't change whether you're making it or missing it. Mike is one of the best shooters on planet Earth. He has one of the best jumpers that there is, and they're of all time. He has one of the best jumpers. So we're not worried about that. Mike's going to make shots. But while he's not making shots, I just encourage him to get touches. And what I mean by touches is anytime you can touch the ball is how you get energy in the ball for yourself, and the ball will start going in, whether it be on offense, trying to get an offensive rebound or a tap back or a deflection or a steal or a strip. Just anytime you can touch the ball, just do that, and it'll start to feel more rhythmic for you, and the basket will open up, the ball start going in.
We're going to go third row in the middle.
Jenna Garcia, Clutch Points. Aaron, during the Lakers series, you said that Jamal and Joker were an unstoppable duo that could match up against anybody. And then last night, you see them go out and do what they did. I'm curious, because I know you're a fan of the game, if they're comparable to any duo that you watched growing up, and if you could compare them to someone, which duo would you say they're most like?
Really unique. Let's see here. Who would I compare them to? I don't know. They're their own guys. I've never really liked comparisons. Um, they're special in their own ways. Very unique players. So I don't know if I compare them to anybody, but yeah, they're a force to be reckoned with.
We're gonna go third row. Gary Washburn.
Gary Washburn, Boston Globe. You're a top 5 pick and a cornerstone in Orlando. How long has it taken you to kind of find your footing in this league to figure out your role, what you can do, and be comfortable with that? That it could be maybe an all-star, but you're a good guy, a good player on a good team. How long does it take you to find that comfort and to get into winning as opposed to just like personal accomplishments?
Well, I've never really cared about personal accomplishments. It was my first 6 years in the league. I had 6 different coaches. So not only was I 19 or 18 coming into the NBA, I was also having to learn a system each and every year. So I'm learning a new system and trying to make my way. It's hard. You can't really nuance the game how you would like to nuance the game. Now that I've been in Orlando with Mike Malone for 2.5 years, I'm understanding what he's looking for. I'm understanding what the team is looking for, what the organization is looking for, where I can kind of manipulate the game in my own right, where I can nuance it, where I can play within myself, and where I can kind of stretch that the area of what I can do. I've always came in with defensive minded as my niche, and then a guy that can make plays and do a multitude of things out there on the floor. So at the end of the day, I'm just out here to help my team win. And so, however it displays itself in that sense, I'm fine with.
2 more questions on the right side, second row.
Vinny Benedetto with the Denver Gazette. Aaron, you mentioned you missed the dinner at Jeff Green's. How are you feeling now? Is the sickness behind you?
Yeah, I'm feeling much better. Thank you.
And then we saw a ton of the Jamal Joker 2-man game last night. I'm curious, what do you feel like your responsibility is offensively when they are in that 2-man game? What can you do to either give them more space or make that combination even more lethal?
Oh man, I do what I love to do. That's what's so great about it. Yeah, I get to play the dunker, so I work the baseline, and catch alley-oops and drop-off passes, and then get to bang out. It's awesome.
Last question, left side, fourth row.
Valeria Rubino of Sport Italy. Can you describe how the skill sets of your 2 leaders seem to perfectly complement each other? And also how Nikola seemed to be changing the world of basketball, being able to do a little bit of everything, also 3-pointers.
Yeah, they complement each other very well. They are all both 3-level scorers. They can both use the pick and roll, one setting it, one coming off of it, and vice versa. They're both just downright winners and just gifted at the game of basketball, talented, and yeah, he's Joker's redefining the game. You are going to start seeing more and more players that can just do everything, regardless of size. He's kind of like breaking that mold, kind of like how Magic Johnson did with the point guard position. He's breaking the mold of the center position of only just being dominant down on the block. Now he's being dominant from 40 feet everywhere on the floor.
Thank you, Aaron.
You've been doing a great job slowing down Jimmy Butler. What are the keys defensively?
To stay down on pump fakes, so don't go for shot fakes. Do your best to stay out of foul trouble. Make things difficult for him. Just be physical with him, but mostly just stay down on pump fakes and stay out of foul trouble.
Thank you, Aaron. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.